Welcome, Future Shapers! You've just tuned in to the nexus of inspiring leaders who share their successes and their failures. Insights that will motivate, educate, and illuminate your path to a very bright future. Welcome to Shaping the Future podcast. Here's your host, Greg Kell.
Hello, Future Shapers. This is Greg with the today's episode of Shaping the Future podcast. We're going to meet Scott Cathey, the owner of Brydenscot Metal Products, a metal fabricating firm in San Bernardino. Scott, please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background.
I'm the owner of Brydenscot Metal Products, as Greg said. We've been in business for about 34 years. We started up in the mountains, and that is not included in that 34 years. But my brother and I came down here in 1983 and started Brydenscot Metal Products with very little money and a little bit of drive and youth.
And family.
And family.
Excellent. So you've seen a lot over the last 34 plus years. Things change, however, Scott. Tell us, what are you most passionate about today?
I'm passionate about my faith, my family, and of course I love my job at Brydenscot.
Family, faith, job.
Yes.
So you've seen a lot in the last 34 years. Some peaks and some valleys, I would assume. Sometimes things don't go exactly the way we would like them to. There's been some challenges. Tell us, Scott, a story about your worst experience as the leader of Brydenscot Metal Products.
I was not prepared for my brother to come to me after 17 years and say that he was done and he wanted out of the business. We didn't know what to do, how to go about it, and later on I learned that we could have been more prepared.
So there you go, a value bomb from Scott Cathey. Be prepared for the unknown circumstances that may come up and bite you on the butt. Excellent. Right now, what did you learn from that moment of unexpected event?
I learned to be prepared, to get advice when you don't know what to do. There's many resources out there. In hindsight, we know what we should have done. We should have had a buy-sell agreement. We should have had a plan all mapped out and signed, so if one of us wanted to leave, it would be a seamless, wonderful thing, and it being family, it can really get ugly.
It's good to have things in writing, even when you are a family, especially when it's a family.
You're right. Everything in writing.
And how, Scott, did this experience help you to become a success that you so obviously are today?
Well, my brother was very talented. He was a great partner, very smart. So when he left, we had to decide if we, how to replace that talent. Him being gone and not having a brother as our partner, I was able to bring my wife in and promote some people from within, and I was just really surprised on how well that worked. Just throwing down the challenge to some of my employees, and they stepped up to the plate.
Excellent. It's good that you have people behind you that have the capability and the drive to step up to the plate when they're needed. Scott, we are at a transition right now. We are moving from the year 2017 to 2018. It will be a great year. When you look forward into 2018, what is your most important goal that you intend to achieve?
We need to build our workforce. 2017 was build our technology and purchasing some new equipment. And our concern for 2018 is it looks like we're going to continue to grow, and we are just concerned about finding talented, young, hardworking people.
So employees, new employees, is that a big challenge that you're facing now?
It can be. We just hired a few people, and that's working out well. But there's no resources for metal fabrication companies to go get talented fabricators, welders, press brake operators.
They don't grow them on trees these days, do they?
No, we have to train them.
How can you overcome this challenge as you intend to face it next year?
Well, we have done a little research, and I found something interesting. Long Beach Community College actually has a new course schedule on sheet metal fabrication. So I've already wrote the instructors a letter and asking them how I can be involved, and of course, as they graduate students, I'd love to meet them.
The pick of the litter, as they say.
I used to go to the local high schools and talk to the metal shop teacher, and I got some great guys from that. But our wonderful school systems have eliminated metal shop.
Oh, that's too bad. So, we're going to go back to 30 plus years in the past when you were just forming Brydenscot Metal Products. Share with us that story of that time. How did you feel when you were just deciding or considering becoming an entrepreneur?
I was young, and I didn't really think about it. I wasn't afraid. I just had a little bit of money and found a facility to rent, and we opened the doors.
You opened the doors, and the rest, as they say, is history. You had clients rushing in the doors.
No, we did not.
Not so much.
No, we were extremely poor and lacking good clients, and I remember my wife calling me one day from home and saying, "Honey, you have to bring home some money today. We're out of groceries."
And so did you?
I did.
Outstanding. The money tends to come from clients. Clients, they come and they go. Some are good, some are more challenging. Tell us, Scott, describe your ideal client today.
I suppose it's one that pays their bills without having to ask, and a client that appreciates what we do for them.
So pays on time and appreciates the outcome that they enjoy as being a client of Brydenscot Metals.
Correct.
That's good. Hopefully those grow on trees, right?
No, they don't. But we got some good ones.
Excellent. So tell me, Scott, what is the best advice that you've ever received?
Well, back years ago, when I was poor and struggling, we just couldn't seem to get ahead. And I went to see my CPA, who we became friends. And I said, "Don, what do I do?" And he said, "Don't do anything different. Just estimate the jobs the same way you do with the same software, and then add 10% at the end, and that's your price."
And there you have it, a value bomb dropped by Scott Cathey to give credit to his CPA. Future shapers, here's the clue. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't sell yourself short. Add 10% and enjoy the extra revenue.
Yeah, if you're not making money, you got to do something about it. You got to do it quick.
You have to change. because the past does not determine the future. Scott, we in the Future Shapers Nation are big readers. What book would you recommend to the audience today, and why?
I would recommend Extreme Ownership. My son and my wife just read it, and we really enjoyed it. But it's a no excuses. Take ownership for all of your mistakes and your successes. It's written by two retired Navy SEALs, and in their business, they could not make excuses. They had to take ownership of everything.
That's right. Excellent. Okay, so tell me, we at the Future Shapers believe that simple actions, yes, habits over time, work together to yield an excellent future. Scott, tell us what you are doing now to shape your ideal future.
Well, we're trying to build our team and grooming my son Matt to take over. I would say everything's going well. We have excellent employees, and it's our goal to take care of our employees, because with like we just talked about, with it as difficult it is to get good help, we make sure they don't leave. We give them all the benefits that big Fortune 500 companies give. We have profit sharing, and there's this thing about putting your employees that they're in a box, and there's a lid on that box. But we've tried to take that lid off, and once a quarter we have a profit sharing meeting. And if we're profitable, we share a certain percentage of that with the guys.
Excellent. Cash flow helps everybody.
Yeah.
Scott, changing the subject now, we believe that America as a nation is at a tipping point. Could go one way, could go another direction. We're just not sure. But we are sure about this. As citizens, we are obliged to help to shape our nation's future in the positive, peaceful direction that everybody benefits. Tell me, Scott, what is America to you?
America is the greatest country in the world. It's given me a happy life, a successful life. It's just we just don't know we take advantage of what we take for granted the liberties we have as a country and as citizens of the United States.
It's easy to, since we sit in a country that in general doesn't have wars and that impact us. Life is pretty easy here, so it's easy to take that for granted.
You're absolutely right.
I believe that our nation is in a form of change. However, we must change. Our nation is currently confronting what I think is a blemish, a long-standing blemish on our society, where powerful women act in a degrading manner toward men toward women. Oops.
Yeah.
This, Scott, is no longer acceptable. We understand Americans must aspire to be our best. Our country must aspire to be our best. We must accept a higher level of accountability where women feel safe and respected at home, in the public square, in the workplace, in the schools, and beyond. Scott, we stand for gender equity. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts. It's just really a shame that fame and fortune and power creates a atmosphere where people can behave badly.
Not good.
Not good.
What big advice, Scott, can you share with the Future Shapers audience? Draw on the years of experience that you have in the past and your perception of the future. Give us some advice.
Well, I would say that our employees are our biggest asset. Go get help when you need it. Our government needs to quit spending more money than they have. Businesses can't do that and stay in business, so therefore the government should not.
And there you have it. Advice from Scott Cathey. Employees are our biggest asset. Seek advice when you need it. And rein in the size and growth of government spending. Everybody will be better off if we can accomplish that outcome.
You're right, Greg.
Scott, thank you for sharing with us today. Please help our Future Shapers audience to understand how they could contact you and what benefit they may receive when they do contact you.
Well, not everybody needs our services. We manufacture metal products for a variety of industries and companies, but I'm happy to talk to any young or old person starting out a business. This podcast, can't cover all the bases, but I have shared with many people my successes and failures. And I'm happy to do that with anybody out there in the audience.
Thank you. Future Shapers, we have heard from Scott Cathey, the owner of Brydenscot Metal Products. His domain is Bryden, B-R-Y-D-E-N, Scott, S-C-O-T.com. You can find the phone number and email. Reach out to Scott for some sage advice on entrepreneurship and the value of building, leading, and orchestrating a successful family business that stands the test of time. Thank you, Future Shapers, for this episode, and stay tuned because the next around the corner. Good day, everybody.
Thank you for joining this episode of Shaping the Future podcast. We leave you, Future Shapers, with this challenge. Act boldly today to shape your future, because if you don't, it will absolutely be shaped for you.